Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Mac, and I'm back, man. Let me get my voice right. I got my squeaky chair, so let's go. All right. So, as you see in the title, there was a shooting yesterday at Killeen Mall around 7 p.m. That's where I reside in Killeen, Texas, and it was a pretty scary thing, man. A guy just walked up in the finish line footwear store and just shot a man like 8 times and then just casually walked out. Um, this really hit home with me because my wife was in the mall at the time and she was in one of the stores. Salute to all of the employees at Bed Bath and Beyond in Killeen. Y'all did an awesome job with protecting your customers and making sure that everybody was safe. So I appreciate you guys for that. Um, yeah, man. When I got the call, you know, I'm a former soldier. I'm a former combat medic, so I don't really panic whenever I hear high pressure things taking place or high pressure situations are going on. So when I got the call, I started to go into, okay, well, what measures do I need to make right now in helping my wife to get through this and coming up with a plan in that form, because I knew that rushing up there on my own wasn't going to accomplish anything. It wasn't going to help my wife, and it wasn't going to help the police because the shooter was still loose. They didn't know whether he was in the store, whether he was in the parking lot, or what the case may be. And so I chose not to jump in the car and just run up there, and I allowed the police to do their job. And I just stayed on the phone with my wife, and we just talked and tried to keep her mind off of what was going on and stuff like that, and just getting information on what was taking place at that point. And she was safe the whole time. I'm thankful that the people were safe, and it sounds kind of messed up to say, but I'm also thankful that he only had one specific target. The guy came up in there. He had one job. He did it, and he bounced. And I'm glad that that was the case. I'm glad it wasn't just a guy just out to shoot random people, which oftentimes those shootings end up being. So I was thankful for that, man, because even though that guy came in and put other people in danger by shooting out in public place, he only had one target. He took out that one target and he went on about his business. And man, every time I hear myself say it out, I'm like, it's crazy that we live in such a time to where that has become a rationale. Um, Basically saying better somebody else than me or mine. And that's a very selfish way to think. But you have to think like that in these situations, man, because when it's you can say a lot of things that you would do until you really placed in that situation. And I see all the time people on social media talking about what somebody should have done. And I'm guilty of doing it too, because I jump on people posts at time and I give my view on what should have been done and how things should have been handled in a situation. But nobody really knows what they're going to do or say until they're placed in that situation. And that's why the term never say never is very relevant for any time or any period in time, because you will go back and you will read many parts of history where people contradicted themselves. And that's why I often allude to the point that most of us are walking and talking contradictions, because we often contradict ourselves based on the circumstances of the situation. And so, not getting too far off topic, the shooter at the Killeen Mall yesterday They say he's about 6 foot tall. To me, he looks to be probably about 160 to 180 pound frame with 6 foot. Yeah, because he's kind of slim guy. His build and the way he wore his little beanie and the shoes that he had on were very reminiscent of a shooting a couple. I think it was about a month ago, not even that long, at the Valero down here in Killeen. Now, this is just speculation. I'm not a cop. I'm no investigator or anything like this, but I'm just looking at the pictures that the KPD are putting out, and the same way that this guy, the same way that he walked, they compared, they were parallel. The build was the same. You really can't see much of the face because he was wearing a mask, which is not uncommon nowadays. It's a very common thing to see people walk around with masks. So, but just like the way that he was walking, the way that his build and all of those things just kind of tied in with each other. So either we got a little hitman running around Killeen, or we just got a dude who got a real problem with somebody else. But I like to say this to you guys out here in these streets who think it's necessary to take somebody's life over an argument or a situation or principles, whatever you want to call the validation of you killing somebody. I'm telling you now, you got to pay for that, man. And your life, I'm not talking about what people are going to do to you. I'm talking about what your mind is going to do to you when you engage in violent acts, and it don't even have to be something that takes somebody's life. There's certain things that run through your mind, after it's all said and done, after every fight or every conflict that I've been in, after the smoke cleared and the dust settled, I always sat down and ran things back through my mind to see if I handled things in the right way, if there was another way that I could have handled things that was better, and just doing a basic assessment of my performance or handling of something. And, during those times, I find a lot of times that I don't handle things the right way. And I want you guys out here in these streets to understand that the way that y'all are handling things, man, is not the right way, man. It may seem right to you. It may seem like your way of being able to get revenge or get retaliation for something, but that's not the way, man. That's not the way. Now, if that's what you really want, because I noticed ever since September the 1st, whenever the open carry license or whatever was passed in Texas, we're starting to see an influx in these shootings. Now, that's not to say that Killeen wasn't already violent and we didn't already have shootings, but now it's a lot easier for a person to walk up into a place with a gun without anybody raising a red flag as much, because it's becoming more commonplace. And we know how they desensitize us to things by making it very commonplace. They make it so common that it's just natural to see. And so now it's nothing to see somebody with a gun on their hip in Texas. So we're going back to the old West days. And since we're going back to the old West days, if y'all really have such beefs with each other, then you need to take it back to the old West ways. Now, in the old West, whenever a dude had a problem with another dude, he'll walk up in the store and say, "Hey, dude, you slapped my sister Sally and you kicked my dog Rusty. Come meet me out in the middle of the street at high noon, and we gonna handle this. All men, women, and children stay inside because it's about to be some lead slinging." They made sure wasn't nobody else in the vicinity to be harmed because their beef was with each other, and they understood that. What are y'all little boys out here doing in these streets? If you don't have enough guts or courage to do that and keep everybody else out of y'all problems and y'all shootings and y'all bravado that y'all trying to kick up and masculinity that you're trying to prove, if you can't do that, then put the guns down. Because a man, being a man starts way before you pick up that gun. And if you think having that gun got anything to do with being a man, then you sorely mistaken. You're still a child, and you need to put away that gun because it's not for you. It need to be out of your reach because you don't have enough understanding to have something with such power. And the power that I'm talking about is the power of that gun that can take somebody's life, that can instantly stop them. That's why it's so popular for these little guys to run out and get guns, because they don't want to have to uh, fend for themselves like a man. They'd rather just shoot you, take your life, and be done with it. So, this is the climate that we in right now. This is the setting that we're in as a society. And, I just want people to be aware when you're going out, especially this time of the year. It's around the holidays, and people are out here robbing people. People are out here all of the stress of the holidays and everything else that's going on is building up on them. So this is not a good time to be out and about, especially for our females. Men, protect your women, man. If they out and about doing the shopping and stuff, make sure you're doing constant check-ins with them. If you can, go with them. Minimize those trips to the malls and all of that stuff like that. And you don't want to live a life in fear, but you definitely want to be aware of your surroundings and what can take place. Um, in that situation, like, because I'll break the story down. My wife was in the store. She was at Bed Bath and Beyond. She was in the line about to buy whatever she was there to get, and then all of a sudden, you just hear the gunfire. But she didn't hear it right away because she saw people running first. So that lets me know that it wasn't near the store that she was in, which I'm so thankful for that, because she didn't hear the actual gunfire like that. She saw people moving and actions indicating that something was taking place more than she heard gunshots. And so when it took place, people are going to start trampling other people. People are going to start trying to find a way out. We see what happened when people panic with the whole Travis Scott Astro World stampede or whatever took place. So when you have a large amount of people in a public place trying to get out two double doors, uh, there's going to be more injury coming from the escape or the attempt to escape than there will be from the actual incident. And so I don't really know what having a gun on you could have done in that moment. Yeah, she could have had a pistol in her purse in case one of the shooter decided to run into the store that they were in. But man, I just don't see that as being a viable option, because a lot of people don't have the mindset to do what has to be done in those situations. People will have a gun, and it's all fun and good going to the gun range and shooting at the range and stuff like that. But when you actually have to look down that barrel and you see another person at the other end, and you have to make a split decision whether you're going to take their life or not, that's a whole different ball game than those targets that's at the range. So not everybody is meant to have a gun in their hand. And we see by this latest school shooting with this young man where his parents went and got him the gun and was bragging about it. But now everybody's in such an upheaval, and everybody's got their selective outrage on for that one right there. But where's the selective outrage when it comes down to situations like Texas? And now everybody out here is carrying a gun around, and nobody's putting in any type of safeguards for the innocent people who are being taken advantage of and being robbed by these people who are walking around with guns open freely. Nobody's stopping people and checking them for their gun licenses like that at all. So we're back in the Wild Wild West days. And so if I gotta put my 6 shooters on my hip, I'm not just gonna have two on me. I ain't gonna let you know how many I'm gonna have on me, but best believe it's gonna be like a boxing combination. Don't just look for a 1-2 punch because I'm coming with a whole lot more. I got uppercuts, hooks, and other things coming behind it. So that's not a threat. That's just a cautionary tale. Um, I don't even know what else to say on this. I don't think I'm really going to go too much more into this. I'm just thankful that the people in the stores were safe. Um, I'm praying prayers going up to the man that was shot. I don't know what that dude came in there and shot you down like that for, but it seems like something very personal, something very serious that needs to be taken care of. So, prayers to you that you get better. The dude that shot him, yo man, I pray that you uh come to terms with the decisions that you making in your life, man, because what you doing right now ain't the ticket, bro. Um, you gotta account for that. When you take life like that, and if you're the same guy that did the shooting at the Valero, seems like you're pretty comfortable with taking life, you're gonna have to answer to that, man. So that's just on you. But everybody else in Texas, he's not the only person with this mindset. That's what I want. This is what I want people to understand. And this is the type of mindset that's starting to grow more and more. Just this brazen, in the middle of the day type of shootings, man. Used to be they catch you slipping in the hood and they peel your cap back. Now they peeling your cap back everywhere, bro. Anywhere. It don't matter. Nobody's safe. And people are definitely not safe anymore. These conflicts are now starting to bleed out of the hood into everywhere else. So now what is going to be done about this? Because now they're starting to affect that other side of town. And that's the only time you see action is when that other side of town is starting to be affected. Um, Prayers up for everybody, man. Y'all pray for Killeen. Anybody else that was up in those stores, man, my prayers and my thoughts go out to you and your family. And you know what I say, man. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.